Why do you want to run for office?
Because I am so disturbed about the direction politics has taken in New Hampshire. I see the state government cutting and cutting business taxes and taxes for the very wealthy individuals. And what's going to happen? Like, we still need, as the New Hampshire Fiscal Policy Institute said, we still need roads and bridges. We still need schools. We still need, all of these things in our state. And all that's coming down on local taxpayers. And I just feel like this is just wrong what's happening. So I've been in conversation with Lynn Turcott, one of our reps,
Yeah.
and about, we need to taxes on the wealthy, and the business and profits tax has been discontinued. And, he said, well, that's for retirees because all of their income is interest income, which, interest and dividends. And I can understand that. But at the same point, we have 80-year-olds who are working at Market Basket bagging groceries because they can't afford their property taxes.
What do you think the real reason is that they actually are like taking away our revenue from the states? Do you have any?
I hear people say they're trying to starve state government. And I don't know if that's true. I mean, I think the people who are free staters believe the least taxes are the best. They don't want to pay taxes. Nobody wants to pay taxes, but we need services.
Yeah, I'm wondering if it really is a valid point. So recently, I've been reading that they just want Democrats and left-leaning people to move out of New Hampshire.
Oh, wow.
And what better way is to make it miserable for those people? But I don't necessarily buy into that because I also know that they have to live here too. I mean, they can't possibly be happy in misery, right?
They can't. I mean, I do believe that people generally have the best intentions. So I do think people who I might disagree with might have good intentions. They may have a reason for doing this that is what they see as a positive for their community.
I just feel like their end game is against everything that we stand for. And so I asked you why you're running for, the office, because everybody has their own reasons. Like mine, Matt, a mutual friend, he asked me after coming over and canvassing my place a couple times. Yeah. He'd always ask me, like, what's your number one? And at the time, my number one was cannabis legalization. I mean, obviously, I stand for so much more.
Right.
But we're an island here as far as that goes.
And the income, New Hampshire needs the money.
Yeah, we cut corporate taxes. I don't know. I think AI has not signed it just yet, as far
business
as
enterprise
the
tax,
business
the new one.
Yeah, it's $26 million gone.
Right. Per year.
Yeah. Yeah, that's just ongoing losses.
Right. And then the business profits tax has also been cut. So according to one article that I read, it's almost $1 billion in lost tax revenue just from the business tax cuts.
Yeah, that honestly to me is neglect. It's dereliction of duty. It's so many things, and we have no recourse other than waiting 2 years to vote them out. And that's if we even vote them out, because we haven't done that yet.
We have in the past.
We have, and I hope that we'll do it again because this state deserves more. Our kids deserve more.
Absolutely.
Our education system, everything depends on these pillars, and the state needs to bring in revenue in order to conduct business.
And I was reading an article today about 85% of young Granite Staters believe that the state is too expensive to live in. So they can't live here, and they would like to. Most of them would like to stay. They love the quality of life, but they can't afford to.
I wonder how many parents have shifted their thought process as far as that goes. When I was a kid, it was very typical to hear the parents in the neighborhood or whatever, when you're 18, you're out of here. You go find a job, you get an apartment. And my generation grew up thinking that that was the norm because our parents did us like that. And my kids, they still live at home and they're in their 20s, and I think a lot of people are in that boat, especially here in New Hampshire. My kids don't want to have to leave home.
Right.
They like it here.
Yeah.
They want to raise families here. They want to, have a career. I think so many people are in that situation right now. There's no way
Yeah.
that our kids can survive on their own here in New Hampshire.
I think it's a big push-pull. So I've talked to so many people whose kids, graduated from college or never left home, and they're still living at home in their mid-20s or like late 20s, early 30s. And parents and kids, I think, are struggling with that. The kids want their independence, and they feel like their parents are kind of watching over them if they're living at home. But at the same time, they can't afford to move out on their own. And my daughter moved home after college, and she just, it was the pandemic. She didn't have a job. She wasn't sure what to do. And she moved home from Michigan. Sorry, not Michigan, Missouri. She lived in St. Louis, Missouri. And she lived with us for like the better part of a year. And she was, I don't know, 27, I think, 28 at the time.
And I would imagine that was probably hard on her ego a little bit, maybe.
Very hard on her ego.
Yeah.
That was the hard thing. Both my kids moved home after college. Both of them were like, this is not what I planned.
Yeah. I mean, they went and spent all that energy going to college, get a degree, hoping to make something, show, hey, mom, dad, look what I did,
Right.
Yeah. My kids are in the same boat, and I feel bad for them because they're stuck comparing themselves to me, my generation, and that's not fair. We're not in the same world.
No.
I'm even lucky that I'm even in the position I'm in.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people can say that.
Yeah.
The pandemic's been hard.
Yes.
The last year's been really hard. I want to ask, this is something that I had in the back of my mind when I ran. Do you have bills that you in particularly want to push and like promote and hopefully pass for the state? Have you gotten to that point in your campaign?
A little bit. So I want to reinstate the interest and dividends tax, which is more than half of that is for people who are in the top 1% of income in the state of New Hampshire.
Yeah.
Which is right now about $735,000 a year in income.
That's substantial.
That's a really substantial. Those people can afford to pay a small tax on their interest and dividends, so that the state lost $135 million with interest and dividends tax repeal. And that was like in 2024 dollars, I think. Yeah. So, I just think we have to reinstate some of these taxes. We have to bring the business enterprise tax back to the 2015 level, which it was, I believe, at 7.5%. And we have, we need that money to run our state government, to reduce the impact of property taxes on average people, because it's average people who are really struggling.
Oh, absolutely. And our kids are going to suffer because it's going to take a long time to reverse a lot of these bad policies. What I'm more surprised is these people, I say these people all the time, but these people that are making these decisions for us based on our lives, whether how much property tax we pay or what we can and cannot do in the state, they're not proud to live in the state. They're doing things that are against what we stand for as a state. Yeah. I've met a lot of people on both sides. Yeah. And there's a lot of good people out there, but these aren't decisions that good people make. Starving our state, taking education from our kids, reducing healthcare access. There's so much going wrong. Did you have like one trigger that you just said, that's it, I'm running?
Well, the education funding issue is a big issue for me. There's voucher program. I mean, I was a school librarian for 14 years, and I loved working in schools. And you just cannot believe how hard school teachers work. Like, a lot of school teachers in the school where I taught would spend hundreds, if not more than $1,000 on things for their classroom. They would buy books, they would buy supplies, they would buy craft materials, they would buy tissues that were soft instead of, and paper towels that were soft instead of the ones that do not absorb anything, which is what they get because they're so cheap. Yeah. And I mean, I just feel like I saw people who worked harder than I have had like 18 jobs in my life. I've been a short order cook. I've done all of these crazy jobs. I was a maid at a hotel at one point. I mean, all kinds. Busy. Yeah, all kinds of jobs I've had. And when I went into schools and I saw how hard the teachers worked, how much extra time they put in the summer, in the evening, teachers would like stay after school for hours and, helping students or working on a project for the next day. And I was like, wow, these people work so hard. If people could see what I see just being in a school, I mean, I don't think they would be, I would hope they wouldn't be demonizing teachers in education.
I'm somewhere in between on that on that last part.
Yeah.
I usually try to give people the benefit of the doubt of being, a decent person.
Mhm.
But running for office and the last year has kind of changed my mind slightly
Yeah.
that maybe not everybody is good. And I think that's okay.
Yeah.
I don't need to change everybody.
Right. Right. I like to believe that most everyone has a good heart. I mean, there are definitely people who are out to get their own, period. They want theirs. And they don't want anybody taking theirs away from them. And I think that's some of the people in the Free State movement, I think, believe that or look at life that way.
Yeah, it's interesting. I don't know if they're getting, resources somewhere else, like somebody's paying them to have these positions. I'm
Yes, I
sure
wonder.
to some degree that absolutely like
Yeah, I wonder about that.
kickbacks,
Yeah.
corruption.
Yeah.
I think that's kind of the name of the game. Do you have high hopes this year as a state? Like New Hampshire has a good chance of going blue?
I do think so. Yes, I think it's got a great chance of going blue. I think people are so frustrated by what they see as a lot of inhumanity on the part of the Republican Party. I mean, things like what has happened with ICE, arresting a 5-year-old coming home from preschool with his little Spider-Man backpack on. Come
Oh,
on.
it broke my
Who
heart.
does that?
Broke my heart. It was such a what a beautiful boy.
I know. And who, you know, lashes out at people because they have a different point of view. I mean, I'm sorry, but I might have a different point of view than you, but that doesn't mean I have to hate you. I have to treat you in an inhuman. And I think that's wrong.
I've never experienced that in my life. I've been on this planet for almost 50 years and we used to have disagreements. We used to, just make fun of each other and laugh it off and walk it off. But it's different now. I've
Yeah.
lost friends and family directly because of the hatred, the racism, the misogyny, just all of it. And that's probably on my side. I've disconnected from a lot of people that I felt like brought some darkness into my world,
Yeah.
and that just happens.
Right.
It's okay to, I think, say goodbye.
Yeah. Well, I'm coming back from that. So I have 7 brothers and sisters.
Yeah.
And I have a really large family, and my siblings are all over the place in politics. There are people who are very far to the right of me, and I don't think there's anybody who's very far to the left of me. But I disconnected from some of them for a while because we just didn't know how to have a conversation. But we're getting back to it and back to saying, you know what? You believe what you believe. I believe what I believe. But we both care about people and we both care about the country.
And I think that's a reasonable position to have. The people I've disconnected from were the people that wouldn't stop sending me celebratory memes of Trump,
Yeah,
or
right.
the people, that call me snowflake and think
Yeah,
that,
right.
you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
the people that
That are hurtful.
poke you in the
Yes.
chest and say, look at me, I'm a bully now,
Yeah.
and I can be. Those are the people that I don't think respect me or my
Right.
positions enough to be within my circle.
Right.
And I
Fair
think
enough.
that's okay,
Absolutely.
right? We're all adults.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think sometimes you have to say, this feels abusive to me. I'm not taking it.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's fine. Have you already started like going out and talking to people? You're the first candidate that I'm talking to.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah. So
No, not so. I mean, a little bit, but just a little bit. I've kind of stuck my toe in, but I haven't started going house to house canvassing yet. I've talked to people who I know, like friends, family, local contacts, just saying, hey, I'm planning to run. This is kind of what I'm concerned about. This is why I'm running. And I've gotten a lot of support.
now you're going for a District 4 seat,
Right.
representing Barrington and Strafford.
Right.
Do you have a plan? of attack, like where you're going to spend your time, the kind of thing, excuse me, the things you want to do?
Yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, I definitely want to get out there and canvas a lot in Strafford. I'm not very well known in Strafford. I'm somewhat well known in Barrington by people who've lived here a long time.
Hmm.
So I've lived here for more than 40 years. And I was back when my kids were young, I was the children's librarian at Barrington Public Library. So I was there for 7 years. I just worked as a librarian for a few years. Then I became the children's librarian. And then I had a youth group that I ran there, and book discussion group, and I did story times. And so, I really got to know a lot of people that way. And people who've been in town a long time know me, a lot of them. But I don't know hardly anybody in Strafford.
Were you the librarian in 2018 here?
No.
Okay, I just
Nope.
want to make sure.
I'm trying to remember what year I moved on to Deerfield Community School. That's where I was a school librarian.
Oh, okay.
So I went back to school. I got a master's degree, and then I became a school librarian over there. And it was I spent 14 years there.
As a librarian, I would imagine that you probably get to communicate and touch so many lives, right? And impressionable lives, because when you're little and the librarian comes over and wants to teach you the Dewey Decimal System or whatever.
Yeah.
I don't know if they teach that anymore.
Well,
but
I still did when I was there, but it was definitely fading out. Yeah.
But what an incredible opportunity. I mean, it's still a teaching moment.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, yeah.
It's a teaching position. Are you sad by the librarians are under attack
Of course.
I mean, not just in our country, but here locally too. I mean,
Yeah.
there's book bans right now going
Yeah.
through the bills.
Yeah.
Does that sadden you as
Of
as
course.
a librarian?
Yeah. I mean, I'm a big believer that people should be able to read what they want to read. Why not let people get the information that they need, get educated? And a lot of these book bans are about anti-gay, lesbian, trans. And, I've worked with young kids who are clearly confused about their sexuality. And it's very, very hard on kids. I'm sure you know that suicide is a huge risk for kids who are young LGBTQ kids.
Absolutely. And I still know adults that are very confused about their sexuality. I think it's important that we all get to explore explore the lanes that we are interested in.
Right.
I should be able to go to a drag show if I want. Right. Maybe not as a kid, but as an adult, there's so many things that frustrate me. And I think book bans are definitely at the top of my list.
Yeah.
So when you talk about librarian, aspect,
Yeah.
I'm thinking to myself, your world, you must be angry. You must be wanting to punch holes through the wall when you hear this stuff, because I'd imagine all librarians that I've interacted with in my life, they were just such kind people. They just wanted you to read.
I know, right? And they want to connect you with something that means something to you. And it might not mean something to the person who wants to ban it, but it means something to you. And so that's the whole point. The whole point is that you can be connected to something that makes you feel like you're okay. And why are people trying to take that away?
Yeah, I think because they're grasping at straws and they're just trying to find, hinge points of how to make people angry, how to make them move. I don't
know.
I'm not really sure. I'm very lucky because my kids are not in the school system basically anymore. We have 3 months and then high school is behind us.
Oh, wow.
So it's just college.
Yeah.
But these new parents, that are just putting their kids in, like my nephew and niece, they're at first grade, kindergarten. Their education path in this state is going to be really, really difficult. Not just book bans, but the way we're stripping down education, and schools are doing less because they have less.
Right.
And the private schools are taking it all.
And, the thing, I don't begrudge people sending their kids to private school. Send your kids to private school if that's the best thing for your kid. But you pay for it. Don't expect the state to pay for it. And, taking money away from public schools so that some kids can go to private schools, while kids who generally are lower income and kids who have more needs, like special ed needs, tend to stay in the school. And it's really expensive a lot of times for those kids because they need a lot of services. But the school is obliged to provide and should provide for every kid the services they need to thrive.
Kids are our future, and if we're not investing in them, they're not going to end up doing what we need them to do as adults,
Right.
create businesses,
Yeah.
join the workforce, be the next line of teachers or librarians.
Right.
And that's disappointing because I know I'm pro education. I want the kids to have what they need here. I want the state to actually raise revenue so these kids can have an
Right.
experience. My kids are so fortunate because we're in the DoD school system and we lived overseas.
Right.
If people could see what the overseas DoD schools have,
Oh yeah.
and then you come to like a small town like Barrington, New
Yeah.
Hampshire, my heart breaks. My kids, just the elementary school, K through 3, they built that building for $35 million dollars and they didn't even bat an eye. It was the most gorgeous tech, like unbelievable school that my kids have ever attended.
And where was this?
This was at Osan Air Base in South Korea.
Oh wow.
And my daughter and my son both got to go to the elementary school where they had pod learning classes
Uh-huh.
with like science in the middle where
Oh,
classes could come out and learn as a group.
wow.
We're not even asking for that.
No.
We're just asking for a good education. And unfortunately,
And
a lot
to
of,
keep art and music and
oh
I
my
mean, come
goodness.
on.
Yeah.
Basic things that motivate and inspire kids like, like those kind of programs, those are huge. Those are so important to kids.
It's unfortunate that a lot of adults have lost the love of art and
Yeah.
music and so much, so they don't see the value. But if they could just sit down and reflect, maybe, 30 years or whatever, gets them back to the youth when they were in that situation, they probably would have been excited to join band,
Right.
or art class, pottery, anything.
Yeah, right.
Like, I understand. I'm not as creative as I used to be.
Yeah.
But I still love the humanities, and I think that they're critical for our communities.
Yeah.
Art, music, so much just runs our world.
Yeah.
And that's something that a lot of people don't bring up when we talk about education, is the loss of those core classes.
Yeah, I hate the thought that, people are saying, "Oh, these classes aren't necessary. They're not they shouldn't be part of the adequate education." That's not true. That's very short-sighted.
And I think it's also unfair that they get to make that choice for somebody else, when they probably, for them it's not a big deal, but they have no idea what the other person that's going to receive is feeling.
Well, and so they say, well, art and music shouldn't be part of the adequate education. And then here's some money to go to a private school that might be, have fantastic art or fantastic music programs, which is ironically sometimes what people are missing in the public school that they want to go somewhere else for. We do have, I feel like we have an excellent art and music program
Oh, we do.
in Barrington. I know the art
Yeah.
and music teachers are just wonderful.
That school, I didn't mean to bring it down
yeah.
when I was
No,
talking about the DoD school, but the difference
in
is
resources.
so significant. And most of the people that live here will never know what I described earlier. They just know what we have.
Right.
And they already think that's too much.
Yeah.
My kids actually have gone through Barrington Elementary, middle, over to Dover High.
Yeah.
They've gone through Great Bay Community College,
Right.
UNH.
Yeah.
Most of those schools don't hold a candle to what we've experienced elsewhere.
Yeah.
Now, that doesn't mean I need to move.
Right. Right.
I don't believe in that. And so anybody that's watching this later is like, well, why don't you get out of here, you commie?
Yeah.
No, I'm going to stay and I'm going to make this place better.
That's exactly my feeling.
Yeah.
Stay and make it better. Make people want to come here. We have such an incredible community. I mean, I love Barrington. There's a reason I've lived here for more than 40 years. And you look at the open lands and the hiking trails and just the natural beauty. We are so lucky that we have all of that. And we should be very thankful. And also, one of the things I think is really important for the legislature to do is to protect those natural resources, because that's a big part of where New Hampshire gets its money, is from people from Massachusetts and all around New England who come up here because they want to hike, they want to ski, they want to experience the outdoors in a way that New Hampshire has that they don't.
I agree with you. I got super lucky that we basically, I didn't know the area at all. I've never lived in New Hampshire before this, So when we got sent around to look at houses, I had no idea what towns were what,
Oh, really?
and like I didn't know anything about the lay of the land. So we looked at Dover, we looked at Lee, Barrington, and a couple other
Yeah.
places in between, and we ended up here in Barrington. And how lucky we are to be part of this community. It is a small community. A lot of people love the fact that we're basically a one intersection,
Right.
type of town, technically too.
Well,
You
now
know,
we are.
yeah. So, but we're a small town. I talked about this before, where even the Burger King coming in was a huge deal to the community.
Oh, yeah.
There was so many people that didn't want fast food in our
Right.
town,
I know.
and I mean, ultimately we got it. What have you seen? 40 years,
Oh my gosh.
right?
So when I first came here, the Caliph's intersection was George Caliph's and Caliph's and the Christmas Dove.
Mhm.
And
Great store, by the way.
yeah, it's magical, right?
Yes.
I think that was it. I mean, we did not have
No
there
gas
was no
station?
gas station. There was no Spinelli's Plaza. There was no I take it back. There was Jenny's Ice Cream, which is now gosh, I'm sorry. I'm going to forget the name of the breakfast place that opened.
Oh, Jackie's.
Jackie's,
Yeah.
right. Jackie's was Jenny's Ice Cream, and then it was a string of other things before it became the Frank Jones pub, and then it became Jackie's.
Yeah,
But
I've only
yeah.
seen it as Frank Jones Pub and then Jackie's. So
And then
I
there
missed
was
all that.
there was also Knight's Garage.
Yeah, no, I remember that. They
Yeah.
took down the little car
Ah,
at the
right,
intersection.
right.
Man, I was driving by it the other day and thinking about that. I'm like, oh man, that little car used to be up there. But they seem to be doing pretty good.
Yeah.
A lot of people in town seem to be doing pretty good, unless you're
Yes.
Cozy's Pizza. That
Right.
that place didn't do very good, unfortunately.
Yeah, it
Um,
is too bad. It did great when my kids were young. That was the place to go. There
Yeah.
wasn't a Milos. Cozy's was the only place, and the person who owns Milos now owned Cozy's then.
yeah. I've heard this story
Yeah.
before, and
Yeah.
it's an interesting one. And now we're getting a burrito place,
Oh, was that right?
yeah, that's what's opening. Oh, it might actually open up when this airs.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's opening within like the next few days,
Oh,
I
wow.
believe. We're getting a burrito place where Cozy's was.
Nice.
And so that's exciting.
Yeah.
But this town's had to change so much in 40
yeah.
years.
It was Cozy's. When I moved in, there was Cozy's there, and that was that little plaza. But really, Cozy's was the only thing in there.
That's nothing.
There was no businesses. I mean, there was a stoplight at Caleb's Corner, but that was it. That was the only stoplight, and
Wow,
it was just really
this town
a
is
quiet,
boomed.
sleepy little town.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but now I would say compared to what you just described, it's booming.
Yeah, it has. Yeah, a lot.
That is, yeah, I love this town. I think it's got such quality to it. I love
Yeah.
walking the neighborhoods. We have a beautiful place.
Yeah.
I'm extremely lucky to live here. Can I ask though, if you've been here for 40 years, the TIF, the town center that they've
Yes.
proposed, we've passed.
Yes.
There's still a lot of people that are angry about that.
Yeah.
Do you think it helps us as a town or takes it away? I don't know if this is like a one side or another kind of issue, right?
I mean, personally, I love the fact that we're preserving a town center. I
Yeah.
love the idea of a walkable space. They're talking about trails that would connect the library to some of the other places in town, and talking about like, the property behind Christmas Dove possibly being developed into, elderly housing units is one thing that I've heard, which I love the idea that I could live here when I can't be in a house by myself anymore, or my
Nice.
husband and I,
Yeah.
we need to downsize. So it'd be nice to be able to stay in Barrington. So I love the idea of that. I think the town center district is a great idea. As far as the TIF part of it, I don't really know how I feel about that. I think it's one way to fund it. I do think Connor MacGyver is a really smart person who's done a lot of good for the town.
Yeah, I would agree. I don't think he's ever done anything in my view that would warrant any kind of hate or anything. I think that a town center is exactly what we need in this
Yeah.
small town. It's not like there's anything precious over in that intersection. It'd just be a nice area to like go for breakfast or go
Right.
walk and see Caleb's, say good morning to some of my neighbors. I only get to see some of these people, at the transfer station, maybe at like Pet Connections,
Right.
just
Yes.
saying hi. But I don't want to just like walk by and be like, hey, how you doing? Maybe I want to stop and catch a coffee and sit down
Right.
and, with some people. So I welcome that. And
Yeah.
the TIF part, I guess,
It's
you
one
do.
way to finance it.
Yeah.
And that doesn't hurt so much.
Yeah.
I think that's what he was thinking.
But there's still
So-
people upset that we have a library.
Oh, yeah, I know that the new library passed. Well, I will tell you that I worked at the library when it was in the old corrugated metal temporary building from the 70s. And it shared the building with the police department.
Wow.
So the police department was across the hall from the library, and the bathrooms were in the hallway. And I remember one day a friend of mine was in with her 2 little boys, and she sent one of her boys to use the bathroom. Well, then she found out that there was somebody who had been arrested who was also in the bathroom at the same time with her son.
Oof.
And it was like, this is not okay.
Yeah.
So, at the time we were trying to get a new library. The town would not pass the new library, but they passed the emergency services building. So the police department moved out, and the library, we renovated the whole space. So it became much nicer, more beautiful space. It was pretty bare bones when I first started there.
I guess I view a lot of these kind of things like we should be proud of it. Like as a state,
Oh, yeah.
we should be so proud that we have UNH, Dartmouth Hitchcock,
Right.
right? These are our pride points.
Right.
Like I want people to be like, you went to UNH?
Yeah.
Oh my God, you got a great education,
Yeah.
but same for the town.
Yeah.
When I hear people say like how good the Dover Library is,
Uh-huh.
or this facility at this town is, you got to go see it. It's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
We don't have anything like that in Barrington.
Well, the new library is really beautiful.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
I love how I was on the foundation, the library foundation, when we got the warrant article passed for the new library.
Yeah.
And I was so thrilled because it's a beautiful space. Have you been in there?
I have. I
Yeah.
got to see it during the open house. And also I give a shout out to Roger. I don't know.
Oh my
who
God,
else.
Roger Gingrich did an amazing job.
He-
And Susan Gaudiello, who was
Yeah.
head of the trustees, is still head of the trustees. Both of them really, they deserve a lot of credit.
Everybody that got that library in our town deserves all the praise that they can get. I mean, I watched Roger in particular because he lives basically right down the road.
Yeah.
Go and work so hard,
Yes.
and the commitments and the standing around and trying to explain people on Facebook like the value of this.
Right.
I think that library is our crown jewel.
Yeah.
And I think that as a community, we should be proud of it. And it's more than just taking out books. It's so much more than that.
Oh my God, there's so many groups that meet there. They have a lot of groups of people who like come in to play mahjong or they have a book group, or there's a veterans coffee hour so people can just connect. It's a place where people really connect. And it's a great place for people to connect.
I actually didn't know about the Veterans Coffee Hour.
Oh, really? You didn't?
No.
Oh, yeah. No, it's, I think it's once a month, and it's definitely worth going to. I know Jack Gale is part of that.
Interesting.
You could ask him about it.
Yeah. Well, if you're a veteran and you're watching this, I hope to see you at
Yeah,
the library
right,
because that piques my interest. Being a veteran,
Right.
I cannot connect with other people unless I go knock on their door. And when I do, they're annoyed. So I'd like to meet them on their own turf where nobody's annoyed.
So the tagline of the library is where community connect, but it is so true. Even when we were in the old building, the library staff would do so much with what little we had, which was not a lot, all kinds of programs for people, just to bring people together to talk. I mean, I remember when I was doing story hours, and the parents they really wanted to talk to other parents of young children.
Absolutely.
If you have a toddler, you may not get out that much. And especially, toddlers can often get sick a lot.
Especially if you're homeschooling.
Yeah. Or homeschool parents. Yeah. And it just gave people an opportunity to just interact with each other and talk with each other and say, hey, when I first started at the library, I got involved in a play group with other parents. And that's when I was a parent. My kids were young, and it was a great opportunity to just get together and meet people and say, hey, how about if we get together at my house next week?
Yeah, and that's what people want. They want
Yeah,
that social interaction.
absolutely.
So
Yeah.
I think that as a community, we should be proud of the things that are in our community.
Absolutely.
And when we don't have anything, it's up to us to put something there. And like it or not, that library is something to be proud of. I can't think of other things in this town that I think are exceptional at this
Well,
point. I mean, there are things that rise, but like that library is definitely.
yeah.
I guess I always think about when I travel to other towns, and the winter is perfect opportunity to discuss like roads.
Yeah.
When I moved here, the head of our transportation, highway transportation building, I can't remember his name. He quit during one of the select boards. It was a big deal on Facebook.
Oh, yeah.
But the roads were immaculate,
Yes.
right? And I don't want to reduce anybody that's doing it now, but it's not the same.
Yeah.
It's just that person was something very special.
Right.
And when we lost that person, we lost, some of the plowing that person dedicated themselves to, or, taking care of the roads. But my point is, when I go over to Dover and I'm driving down some of our side roads and it's bumpy and the frost heaves have destroyed our place, people remember that stuff when they drive through the town. Like, oh, Barrington's roads suck,
Right.
But, somewhere else, Gonic or whatever,
Right.
they have great roads. Those are the things. Like, I want my community to be remembered for positive things.
Right. Oh, yeah, of course.
And
Don't we
so
all?
I hope we're going to get more stuff as well.
Well, I have to say that one of the things that I really appreciate is the rec department started a monthly cleanup, roadside cleanup. There used to be so much trash on my road. I mean, constant. And first it was like an annual road cleanup, and a lot of people got out there and cleaned up. Like my road, I was part of a group that was cleaning another road, but I went back to clean up my road. Someone had already done it.
Is that
And
nice?
it's amazing. And the roads look so much better. I mean, frost heaves aside, just the trash along the road.
Yeah.
I don't see the trash like we used to have.
I mean, our roads are our beauty, like,
Yeah.
our lanes. But
Yeah.
I agree. I used to do a lot of roadside pickup when I was stationed around the U.S. They'd always ask for volunteers, and I'd go out at least once a quarter and go pick up a road.
Right.
And it is, I think there's a lot of value there.
Yeah.
I think you can take a little pride in your own community because you'd be like, I cleaned that.
Right.
And you can also excite other people to come out and be
Right.
a part of that as well and build your community.
Right.
And I see them all the time in Barrington, and everybody that's doing it, my hat's off to them.
Yeah.
I can't walk like that so much anymore because of my knees, but
Oh, yeah.
but getting out there, it is nice. I mean,
The Library Foundation, we adopted Route 9.
Yeah.
And so from where the library is to Caliph's. And, when we go down there and clean up, there would always be people who would come out of their houses going, thank you so much for doing that. And they just kind of wanted to straighten up a little bit too. Oh, I'm going to straighten up while you're, picking up.
right. Makes
So,
them feel good,
yeah,
right?
right.
You're like, this is where I live.
Yeah.
And I live next to Swain's Lake, not
Yeah.
literally next, but
Right, yeah,
close enough.
Yeah, right.
And I walk this neighborhood whenever I can, and seeing the streets clean, seeing them taken care of, when the highway department comes over and trims back everything,
Right.
it looks so good. It looks picturesque.
Yes, that's right. I feel like we have a very picturesque town.
Yeah, absolutely. You could go anywhere 5 minutes from now and probably take some incredible photos.
Yeah.
So from our waterways to, my favorite is obviously fall. when
Yes,
you get
right, of
all
course.
those
Yeah,
colors. Something I realized, this is aside from politics.
yeah.
but
No
something
worries.
I realized from being here, living here, and then last week we went out for our 20th anniversary.
Oh, happy anniversary.
Thank you. And we went out to the coast of Maine. She loves the beach. I grew up
Yeah,
next
yeah.
to the beach down in Connecticut. So we got a place over there. And when I was sitting there, I was just taking it in. I was like, aside from the waves, where I live is just as beautiful.
Yeah.
I'm actually going on vacation inside of a vacation.
Yeah.
And it's amazing. I mean, that's why people travel so far,
Yeah.
Every
Right.
year to see, our beaches, our
Right.
foliage,
Yep.
whatever it is.
I grew up in southern Indiana. I never saw the ocean until I was 17.
That has to be wildly different.
I mean, it was wildly different. I loved it. There were lots of trees. It was very picturesque there too, I thought,
Yeah.
growing up. But when I saw the ocean, I was like, wow, I can't believe Never seen this.
Did you come here as a teenager, a
As a
kid?
student.
As a student?
As as a
Okay.
graduate student, actually, to UNH.
But you were quite young then.
Well, I came. Thank you. I came when I was 22, I think.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, and then I met my husband. He was going to UNH also, and he was from New Jersey. And my family had moved to Oklahoma, and which Oklahoma is not my favorite place. It's just very dry, hot,
Yeah.
and almost impossible to plant things because it's got this red clay dirt. So I
Much
was
like Georgia. Georgia's full of
yeah.
red clay too.
Well, so at any rate, I
Yeah.
was happy to stay, and so was he. So we just
Yeah.
made our home here.
Oh. That's I mean, you stayed.
Yeah.
So it must be great, right? Do you get to go home to
Oh yeah, my mom's not in Oklahoma anymore, but she's still alive. She's 98 years old.
Wow.
She lives in Texas. So I was in Texas in January visiting her and my brother and two brothers and a sister.
Texas is so big. It's two different states, north
Right.
or south, because
So she's in North, she's in Sherman, and then my sister lives on a suburb of Dallas.
okay.
And I have a brother who's in Longview, which is East Texas, very near the Louisiana border.
Yeah, it actually snows in Texas for people that don't know this.
Yeah.
Like when you go up north, it's it's north.
Yeah. I mean, they got snow in Dallas.
Yeah, I mean, but being down in like San Antonio,
Oh, yeah,
and that area is so different.
Yeah.
And that's what I like about Texas. You just drive up the road for a few hours and it's completely different.
Right. Yeah.
So, but you're not leaving anytime soon, I'd imagine, right?
No, this is home.
This is your forever
we're
home.
gonna stay. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
We've talked about being snowbirds, but it's never really happened. And I don't know. We go away for a week or two in the wintertime. That seems to be enough.
I always hear people like, I'm done with this shoveling.
Yeah,
I'm moving to Florida. I'm moving to the Carolinas. There's nothing like this.
No.
I've lived in those places. There's nothing like this.
Yeah. Well, one of the things I was reading something today about a guy who had moved to North Carolina because he said, I can't afford to own a house in New Hampshire. So housing prices in our area have doubled in the last 10 years. 10 years. That's not much. And it's like the median price of a home in Barrington now is $550. But yet the state legislature, this is another thing that really frustrates me. They had a bill before them to spend $5 million on a program called Housing Champions. And it's like 28 communities qualified as housing champions. And the state would give a little bit of money to those communities to help with infrastructure and so that the communities could build affordable homes. The state just voted down that $5 million that could have gone to that program. It's responsible for something like 45% of all new homes in 2024. And it's just so short-sighted. People need affordable housing, and the state keeps voting down bills that would allow it.
And if I recall right, they said that they couldn't find the money.
Right?
Where
are they going to find the money?
They're just trying to find out where we can pay this with.
Right.
While they're erasing our revenue,
Yes.
that's what they said. They said, literally, the Dems keep asking for this, but they refuse to tell us where the money's coming from. I would assume they're not telling them where the money's going to come from because they're afraid they're going to cut that next,
It's like, all right, you just cut the business enterprise tax. It's going to cost the state $26 million in revenue per year. And they're asking for $5 million for affordable housing. Can't afford it.
We could have built a lot of affordable housing with $26 million a year, right? Maybe not enough to cover everything, but it's a start.
It would be a start.
You could build several homes. We tried here in Barrington, the townhouses, but they ended up being $500,000 each, right?
Yes.
So we failed miserably.
Yeah.
How do you force somebody to build affordable housing?
I think you incentivize affordable housing. You incentivize builders to build affordable housing. That's how you get it done. It's not going to happen by force. It's going to happen because people see the need and you can give them incentives. And that's what that Housing Champions program was. It was a little incentive to encourage people to build the affordable housing that is so desperately needed.
I wish people understood the problem deeper than just a title, a headline.
Right.
Where are your kids going to move out to? they're not going to move out and buy a house. They need to go through the same steps that we all did, where you go out and you work that first couple jobs, you build a nest egg, you build your credit, and then you work your way up. And affordable housing is really important in that first.
Right.
Like when I move out of mom and dad's house, I need affordable housing. And I think today's ideal of that is, oh, I need to move out, but I need to get 3 strangers to be my roommates so I can
Right. Oh,
afford a
yeah, that's
place,
absolutely right.
is insane as well.
Yeah.
We got to do something as a state. Like, how far up on that for you is your priorities, you know?
I think affordable housing, it's all so connected. To me, affordable housing, education payments, taxes, those are all connected. If we have the tax revenue, we can devote some of it to affordable housing. We can devote some of it to property tax relief, because, you know, the state, I'm sure you've heard about the Supreme Court case where the state was told that they have to raise the amount of adequate education funding from $4,100 to $7,300 per pupil.
Wasn't that decision 4 times though?
The decision has been a number of times. I mean, over 30 years. It feels like ever since I've been here,
Okay.
the legislature has been refusing to resolve this issue with property tax, not property tax, but paying for education, for adequate education. And there's always another fight over it. So the most recent one was this 2025 case, and the Supreme Court upheld a lower court ruling that said an adequate education will cost at minimum $7,356.01 per child. And now the state is trying to pass all these bills that say things like, well, you know, the state isn't responsible for an adequate education. The state can contribute to an adequate education, which, you know, means less state funding, which is more property taxes. And property taxes are killing communities.
It's going to be
stop.
It's going to be one of the number one things that you're going to discuss at people's doors.
Yeah.
Are you ready for that conversation?
I am,
Yeah.
because I totally feel the pain. I mean, when you see people in their 80s working all of these jobs so that they can keep their home, it breaks my heart. It's not fair.
Breaks mine too.
Yeah.
I don't want people to leave a community they grew up in
Right.
and got old in and want to die. And
Right.
I think we should be, again, proud of keeping our elders in homes, not assisted living homes, but
Right.
their homes.
Right.
Keeping their children, their grandchildren local so they
Right.
can be with family and be
Right.
a part of that process. These are all things that we should all be on board with.
Right.
There's going to be a lot of people that won't vote for you because they're gonna be like, you're a Democrat. You're going to give me a sales tax. You're going to give me an income tax. You're going to raise my property taxes.
Right.
And
That's so far from the truth.
isn't it?
It's so far from the truth. The truth is that all these raises in property taxes are because Republicans are cutting over and over the taxes that would be on the wealthy and the businesses. 0.2% of businesses pay the business profit tax, or actually, I'm sorry, I misspoke. 0.2% of businesses pay more than half of the business profits tax in the state. And these are huge multinational corporations that are paying that. We need that money. We need to stop giving them a pass on paying taxes and take that money and invest it in lowering property taxes, invest it in our schools, invest it in our affordable housing. We can do that, but that's not what's happening. And I'm just so sick of the mantra that, you know, oh, those Democrats want to spend all of our money. Oh, those Democrats want to raise taxes. I mean, I think Democrats want tax fairness. And right now, where the taxes are unfair is that the very wealthy pay almost nothing.
I just don't know, as an average person, blue collar worker, why I give a shit whether billionaire Steve or Tim or Tom or whatever pays their fair share in taxes so my state works. You know, like, I don't know why people are rooting for the billionaire class like they are, you know, even locally.
Yeah.
Because I walked these shoes before, you know,
Yeah.
I heard what was asked of me. And I had the same reaction. I'm like, whoa, 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 what are you talking about? Like, I'm not here to do a sales tax. I'm
Right.
not here to do an income tax. I want to tax the wealthy.
Yeah.
I want to put services back in our state. I want our kids to have the best education, along with the teachers getting paid to provide that education appropriately. There's so many things that we need as a state, but we keep getting people that are easily manipulated and voting against their own interests, their
Yeah.
own family's interests. I don't know how we fix that.
I don't know how we fix it either.
You
I
know?
mean, I'm a believer that if you talk to people and you just have a conversation, that most people are very reasonable. They might disagree with you, but they have their reasons for it. I don't know. I'm part of, I think I told you, part of this program called Braver Angels, which is all about bringing people on the left and the right together to have civil conversations about politics, about issues that are hot button issues, you know, like gun control, school funding, ICE, you know, what ICE has been doing. And those are really awesome conversations, but you have to get past all of the vitriol, all of the blaming and finger pointing, and just say, well, what do you think is a good policy for our country? And how are we going to get there?
Yeah. Yeah. And I also have to remember that not everybody's armed with knowledge and facts like like the other side. I mean, not saying one side's better than the other, but
Yeah.
there is a side that is not providing facts.
Right.
And they are providing vibes.
Yeah.
And then there is a side that is providing facts, even though they're not seemingly as strong as one side. There's a lot going on. There's a lot of people that are pitting us against each other.
Right. Oh yeah.
And if
I think that's very that's very deliberate.
super deliberate. We need to get rid of this class warfare.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, and the faster people realize, like, oh my God, they're stripping me of my family wealth, generational wealth, you know, freedoms and everything else, the faster we can get on with this.
Yeah.
We need to get these mega corporations and these billionaires out of our politics, which is going to be impossible with Citizens United.
Yeah, well, it's true. Citizens United has made it, yes, feel impossible. I don't know. I think most people are really, really sick of it. They're sick of billionaires and corporations controlling everything. And, you know, the people at the bottom are the ones who are just getting the squeeze.
Yeah.
Another article I was reading recently said the people at the lowest income level, which is below the poverty level or about the poverty level, pay 8.9% of their income in taxes. People at the highest level, people over $500,000, you know, $1 million, they're paying like 1.2% of their income in taxes. How is that fair? They can afford it and they're not paying it. People at the bottom are just struggling to maintain basic, you know, paying their rent and paying for, you know, clothes and food, and those people are the ones who are getting the squeeze. And it is very deliberate and it's very unfair.
Yeah, and that's what purchase representation looks like. When those billionaires, millionaires come in and they say, "Oh, you're going to run for my interests? Here's a check. Good luck and thank you for saving me so much money."
Right.
The rest of us are just shopping at Walmart hoping that tomatoes aren't $1.50 a pound, you know?
Right.
And it's insane because the same people will go to the polls, but March, September, November this year, and they're going to vote against their own interest again.
I don't understand it. I can't even pretend to.
I know. I only giggle a little bit just because it's the only way that I can somehow piece this together. It's insanity that somebody would be like, "Oh, you're going to raise my taxes again? Here's a vote."
Yeah.
Like, what are you doing?
Right.
Yeah. I've never wanted to raise anybody's taxes. I literally live in the same community.
Right.
It's not like I have more money than my next door neighbor. Like, I don't want to raise his taxes. I don't want to raise mine.
Right.
And that mentality is just dangerous for all of us because they're putting the wrong people in Concord. And I guess maybe people aren't paying attention to the bills that they're rolling out. I mean, they rolled out so many bad bills this year, last year.
Oh, yeah.
Is there any bills that stand out to you?
Well, right now, HB 715, which is a bill that is being pushed really fast through the New Hampshire legislature, which would make every school an open enrollment school. There wouldn't be any local choice about it. every school would have to do open enrollment, which means students could come and go. And it sounds like it could be a good thing until you start thinking about the fact that some communities are just property poor. They don't have as much money to fund their schools, for example. And so those schools will lose students, and the money that the state gives those students would also go with that student. And then eventually some schools will end up closing. I feel like some communities will end up with no school because they're near a town that's much wealthier, that has things that their kids want, and it's just a no-win situation for schools. I just feel like almost so many bills are demonizing public schools, and yet we spend $51 million in 2026 we're spending on the voucher program, and there have been several bills introduced to ensure that the money that's being spent on the voucher program, that student test results are shared with the Department of Education, and that there are certain standards, oversight for these voucher programs. No. I read an article today that the oversight committee for the voucher program, and this might have been an older article, hadn't met in a year.
That's crazy. Yeah, I've read that there's no oversight as well. And I mean, if we're spending that kind of money, there should be some kind of audits. Somebody should be able to go in and be like, hey, we need to talk.
And there was an effort to make an audit when Frank Edelblut was the commissioner of education. And he said, whoa, this is too much.
He's the worst.
Yeah, he was not an educator at all. He was never an educator.
He was a destroyer.
He became the head of the Department of Education.
I don't know if he was worse than the one in Oklahoma. What was his name? Walters? That one was pretty bad. But our education, leads for these states, they're critical.
Yes.
And when you get one that doesn't support you at all, it shows. It's powerful.
Yeah.
And he was one of those. Everybody hated him.
He did not support public education.
Yeah.
I won't use the word hate, but he didn't support public education. He didn't support public schools. And that's the whole commissioner of education. That I feel like that's their job.
I want the smartest kids in New England to be educated right here.
Yeah.
Right. But hopefully everybody feels that way about their state. Right.
I would hope.
Yeah. I'm not saying like I should be better than everybody else, but my goal as a person living here is I want to produce the best people that we can possibly produce.
Absolutely.
Right. Like I want people on the other side of the planet, other side of the United States to be like, you need to hire engineers that went to UNH.
Yeah.
Because they're exceptional.
Yes.
Why do other states get to enjoy that, but we don't? Like when people say like, I went to Brown, I went to, UCLA, I went to wherever.
Right.
Those are notable, but you don't ever hear from, I mean, maybe Dartmouth, Hitchcock, right? Because those,
Dartmouth College,
that's exceptional.
You do hear that. Yeah.
That's exceptional.
Right,
but
right.
like, I think UNH when we moved here was like ranked 113 in the US. And we should be doing everything we can to throw money at education, not just to raise test scores, but to just produce better people.
Right. Yes. And New Hampshire shouldn't be the 50th out of the 50 states in education funding, in public schools, K through 12, and in universities and colleges. And it is 50th out of the 50 states in both of those things. And they just cut their funding for UNH by 17%, the university system of New Hampshire, by 17%. 17%, that's almost a quarter. What are they thinking?
Yeah. And for anybody that might watch this and you don't live here, you've never been to UNH, it is not like one building. It is not just a small like university. It is a sprawling campus.
Yes.
They have their own police force.
Yes.
It's huge. So 17% is a really big budget cut.
Yeah.
I would think that we'd want to be bragging all over the place about how we're number one here, number one there, and unfortunately being number one and not putting money where education matters. Not a great place to be. That gets us that south of the north kind of nickname, I guess you could say.
Yeah, south of the north, is that the nickname?
Oh yeah, Alabama of the north.
Oh,
yeah,
wow.
that's you could say it different ways, but And you know, at the end of the day, that's kind of like a bad feel. I lived in the South. I lived in North Carolina. I lived in
Yeah.
Georgia. I spent a large part of my adult life there, and that's nothing to brag about.
Yeah.
You know, I just think that we could do a lot better for those that come after us.
Yeah.
You know, when I leave this planet, I want to know on my deathbed that I did everything I could to leave this place better than what I found it.
That's exactly my philosophy. I think that's such a good philosophy to have. And I do think there are a lot of people who believe that.
Yeah.
And want that.
I think so too.
They truly want New Hampshire to be recognized as a great state. And it is a great state. But our legislature right now is just giving it away. They're giving away all of this enormous amount of money that could fund a lot of programs that could make New Hampshire better, more accessible. We're the oldest population, second oldest population in the United States in this state.
Right. And only second to Maine.
Only second to Maine. And Vermont is a close third, actually. But we need young people to stay here. We desperately need them to stay here because if they're not here working, who's going to support the economy when all of us retire?
Yeah, who's going to change our diapers when we're in our
Well,
80s and
yeah.
90s, you know, there's a lot of things like you don't want to find out 30 years from now that there's nobody there that's going to help you at your end of life.
Yeah.
You know, like, oh, we don't have anybody around here that does blood transfusions or something like that, you know, because they all had to go somewhere else to work. Yeah, it's crazy. My wife's from the Philippines, so it's a lot like that over there. People will train to become doctors and nurses, and then their first step is, okay, great, how do I leave the country?
Yes.
And that's why we have so many Filipino, you know, medical professionals here in the US and Canada and around the world. I don't want to be like that. Right. I want to keep what we've taken pride in raising here.
Right.
You know, we can be a powerhouse.
Yes.
We choose not to. This is a pretty wealthy state because it's a retirement state. So a lot of people come here with money, but we're masquerading as broke boys.
Yeah.
We can't afford anything.
I do think that there's pressure on the legislature to, keep the taxes really low for those people who are very wealthy. But, they're living in a state that has an incredible quality of life. So be willing to put in a little money to keep that quality of life the way it is and improve it.
Yeah, there's a reason why they come here.
Yeah, there's a reason why they come here. That's right. We're not going to drive them away with a 4% interest and dividends tax.
No, absolutely not. Our roads are blocked in the fall. You can't even go through the notch without being in a parking lot.
Yeah.
There's people that are going to come here no matter what because we have something that nobody else has.
Right.
We have incredible wilderness, hiking, the views anywhere in the state. Maine and Vermont are beautiful too.
Right.
Growing up in Connecticut, it's a different kind of beauty.
Yeah.
I grew up kind of in the blue city, I guess you could say a little bit, right?
Where's that?
Norwich, Connecticut.
Okay.
That whole area, New London, and the coastline of Rhode Island. My parents separated when I was young, so I got to see a little bit more, with Rhode Island thrown in there with my dad going over there. But I love this place. I love New England. I came back here after 21 years in the military so I could raise my family here, so I could potentially die here.
Yeah.
And I just want to do it under better circumstances. So when I heard that you were running for office and the others as well, I got excited.
Well, thank you.
Because these are you are the people that we should be sending. You live and breathe this community. You've worked in this community. You know so many people in this community. And you're not going to go to Concord and do bad things. You don't want to go and raise property taxes. You don't want to go and reduce education. So that excites me because I want to send somebody that's going to make my community better.
Yeah.
That I could be proud of.
I really think that our state can reduce property taxes for people by keeping some of these business profits tax and business profits, business enterprise, interest and dividends tax that are taxing the very wealthy so that they can make it more affordable for people who aren't millionaires to live here.
Yeah. People without silver spoons. You
shouldn't have to be a millionaire to live in New Hampshire, but it feels like that sometimes.
I think right now they said that you have to make somewhere around $120,000 a year to be in the middle in New Hampshire. And that's an obscene number, especially considering that this ain't 1950s anymore. There's not one household income.
No.
Everybody's being spread thin. We should be doing better. That number shouldn't be so high, you
So
know?
my daughter is a teacher. She actually moved to Massachusetts after she came home, lived with us for a while. Then she moved to Massachusetts, and she teaches high school physics. And she loves her job. She would love to live in New Hampshire. She doesn't feel like she can afford it.
Yeah.
She said to me, "I will never be able to afford to buy a house, Mom." And
Ugh.
I understand her feeling because now you have to have $100,000 down payment. That's not even 20% of the median cost of a house in Barrington.
Yeah.
That's what a median cost of a house is, $550,000. $100,000 doesn't even cover 20% down payment. And she's like, "Well, I don't make that much money as a teacher that I could afford $100,000 down payment."
Yeah, and your mortgage is still like 3 grand
Oh,
plus a month.
yes.
That's some stress.
Yeah. And I mean, job security aside, if you and your significant other both have good jobs and you have decent job security, then you have to always worry, well, what if one of us gets sick? What if, we have high medical bills?
Oh,
I mean, it's just
that's
too
a
much
stress.
pressure.
Yeah. Yeah. No, absolutely. That's a lot of stress for a family to endure, a potential illness.
Right.
All it takes is you go to work and get hurt and you're out for 6 months and you're not earning your full pay. And the next, you're behind on the mortgage, a couple,
Right.
payments. It gets scary quick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's how people end up homeless. And I tell you, every plaza that you go to, you see people standing out, homeless people looking for money. It just breaks my heart. It's just so sad. We do not have to live this way. We should not have people who are losing their homes because they have medical bills that they can't afford.
I think that was one of the worst things that they did, this administration, coming in and reversing that rule that medical debt can go on your credit report. Well, that alone is so cruel.
Yeah.
Because when your credit is no good, nobody's going to rent an apartment to you. You're not going to get credit cards and financial, help or extensions, with loans. It basically blocks you out of being an adult.
Yeah.
Bad credit is the fastest way to just destroy. And then putting that in there, I know that's an aside outside of New Hampshire.
Well, no,
but it
it's
affects
actually
us.
no, it actually isn't an aside because there's a bill before the House right now where they're considering allowing landlords to double the security deposit that they ask for if someone has bad credit or doesn't have the references that they need. And that's exactly the kind of situation where somebody might have bad credit. So think about how doubling the security deposit, which is probably like close to $2,000 already, would block somebody from being able to rent an apartment. I mean,
Raising barriers
just more and more barriers. It's crazy. I just feel like this House and Senate, they vote along party lines.
Yep.
And nearly every bill that the Democrats put forward gets voted down by the Republicans. And it's just like, no, we are not going to fund, we're not going to allow manufactured housing to be in residential areas, which would definitely make it possible for more people to afford housing. And no, we're not going to put money into this Housing Champions affordable housing program. And not only that, but we're going to give landlords the ability to double their security deposit. I mean, each one of these things is another brick in the wall to keep people out.
I don't understand the end game fully, and I don't need to. I just know that it's bad. So, limiting those kind of things just hurts all of us.
Right.
Because when somebody can't get their first apartment or whatever it is, they still have to go somewhere.
Right.
Right. So they're still going to consume community resources, whether it's through shelters or
right.
Or back in with family,
right.
Which puts strain on the larger family, right? Because somebody's got to cover everything. These are just dominoes that affect everything in our community. And I'm really hoping that when we go to the polls this year, that people really think of the long game.
I hope so.
Think of what life in New Hampshire could be 5 or 10 years from now. And if they're wondering what it would look like with a Democrat, it would probably look different than what it looks now because New Hampshire for the last 100 years has been primarily Republican. And
Well, we've had some good runs for Democrats.
we have. I mean, I have my thoughts on our past governors, but there are people here that want to make a big difference. There are people here that want to make this place more than livable,
Right.
you know, enjoyable.
Yeah.
Vacation place where we live.
And we want our children to be able to live here so that our grandchildren can be nearby, so that we can help with their child care.
Yes. Yeah.
Which we are going to be doing for sure.
One day I want to actually push my grandchild on a swing at our local park.
Yeah.
I want to go to the band night, you know, at the elementary or middle school. You know, there are so many opportunities that are taken away from me and other people because those things aren't going to happen.
Yeah.
My kids don't even want to have kids.
Yes.
I have 5 kids. They don't want to have
None
kids.
of them. My youngest, I have 2 daughters. One of them lives in Seattle, but my younger one, Anna, she and her boyfriend are both really interested in having a family if they can afford it.
Sure.
So the cost of childcare is another issue. The average is like $27,000 for childcare. It's more than tuition at UNH.
Most people in New Hampshire struggle to make more than that in a year.
It's very, so what's happening? So I sub at the ECLC a lot, the Early Childhood Learning Center in Barrington, and a lot of times it's grandparents who are dropping off the kids, who are picking up the kids, who are taking the kids after school so that their kids don't have that burden. And, you know, grandparents seem to love the opportunity, which I would love. I would love to have that opportunity. But at the same time, like if they get sick, if they have health problems, it's like, again, the dominoes that, you know, well, where's that child going to go? Who's going to take care of that child? Where are we going to find the money for the child care?
Yeah, I'm a huge advocate of social safety nets, of making sure that our neighbors are taken care of, you know, when they are down. You know, things happen. I get that. We should come together as a community and find solutions to those. I think the idea of like, oh, you lost your house, tough luck, buddy, you know, is sad. When I see that on a Facebook post. You know, I hope that it's a bot and not a real person, but
Right.
I know that there's people out there that feel that way. There's going to be some rough people that you get to talk to that you're never going to change their mind.
Right.
They're never turning off Fox News. They're not going to watch a podcast like this. And you just have to accept those losses. But I hope.
Yes, I think so.
I hope that you can get into those independents and talk to them. And I hope they'll watch stuff like this.
Yeah.
We have a lot at stake this cycle. A huge amount.
Oh my gosh.
Well, I was going to ask if you had thoughts on like the governorship or outside for the state, but I think it's far too early to really think about. I think that if we run a good Democrat as a governor, I think Kelly Ayotte loses. I'm a little unsure about our Senate seat.
Right.
I mean, we have some really killer candidates, right? And
well, our current senator is still running, David Waters.
Oh, I'm sorry. I meant at the federal level.
Oh, you mean the federal level?
Yes. Shaheen.
Right.
Yes, and we are very lucky to have David Waters as well.
He is an awesome state senator.
I'd asked him if he was going to run again in 24, and he was on the fence. So it's nice to see him come out. I don't know how many more cycles, you know, he has ahead of him. I think he's starting to, and I don't want to put words in his mouth, but I imagine he wants to spend more time with his family. You know, he's put a lot of work out there, and
he sure has. Yeah,
you know, he's a great guy. Love.
Well, yeah. Just a quick story. So when I came here to UNH as a graduate student in the English department, he was a professor in the English department at the time. Yeah, and so I was maybe 22. I think, you know, I don't know how old he was, but you know, he's definitely been, when he retired from his professorship, that's when he became a state senator, and been a state senator now for quite a long time.
He's 74 right now.
Is that right?
Yeah, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I mean, I'm hoping he's running again. I think he is.
Yeah, he is. He is.
Okay.
And he represents us very well.
He really does. He does a lot of work. He's
every event I go to, whether it's for the federal, the state, a local, like he seems to be there.
Yeah.
and I always love seeing him, shaking his hand, saying hello.
Yes.
We have a lot going on across the state, but like, big ones for us is our
Right.
U.S. delegation, right?
Yes.
With
Oh,
Chris
yeah, for sure.
Pappas
Yep.
and Krishna Menzar.
Menzer. Yeah.
Um, we're gonna win those seats. I think the Democrats are gonna win the seats.
I
Which
sure hope
Democrat?
so.
Yeah, I hope so too. I don't know which one. I think we'd be
I don't know.
represented well with either, and I don't want to like put too much weight into that race. But our House seat is
Yes.
going to be huge. We have like eight people running for that.
There are 7 as far as I know.
7.
And let me just put a plug in for
Please.
Barrington Candidate Forum for the CD1 seat. That's for the U.S. House of Representatives, Chris Pappas's current seat. Barrington is having a candidate forum April 8th from 6 to 8 p.m. at the Barrington Middle School.
Yep.
And it's going to be moderated by the head of the Strafford County Dems. Strafford County Dems, along with Barrington Dems, is putting that candidate night together. But it's a great opportunity to hear the positions of all these different candidates and to ask some questions.
Yeah, and I've been following the candidates. I'm not endorsing anybody at this point.
Yeah.
I'm not putting any kind of thoughts out there either way. But they are all very different.
They are.
And people should go out and ask these questions,
Right.
what's important to you, because there are some candidates that are very different than others on both sides of the
Yes.
spectrum for the left.
Yes.
Make your decisions wisely. We have our primary is September 8th, I believe.
That's right.
Right. So Tuesday, I hope to see a big turnout for the town. We had a huge turnout for the presidential election.
We did. We had a line. I mean, I'm a supervisor of the checklist in Barrington, as you know.
Yep.
And we had a long line of people registering to vote. Some of them my age or older who had never voted before.
Which is
And that
exciting.
is
to me.
amazing.
Yes.
Yes. It's amazing to see people motivated to come out to vote. It's such an important right, and we need to protect it. Make sure that people value it.
I think it's really important as parents to instill that value in our kids. I mean, it's not a privilege. It is a civic duty.
Right.
And we load up the cars and we all go together. So
that's
when
great.
I hit the parking lot, I got an entourage.
That's great. That's great.
We're voting in large groups. But I want my kids to never miss an election. I
Yeah.
want them to know that politics starts local,
Right.
and it is so important. Like, I don't care where you are, what you're doing that day, unless you're like out of the area and you can't control yourself, but you need to make it to the middle school and you need to bubble
Right.
in that form. It'll take 5 minutes.
Right. Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, and that's what I'm hoping that other parents are doing, here in Barrington.
Well, all those decisions, people are very up in arms about the raise to property taxes, which, has been pretty significant in the last few years. And
Mine's almost doubled. I'm sure yours.
mine did go up a lot. It hasn't, not quite that much. But you have control over that. That's where voting comes in. You can control when local town elections, go and vote so that you can have a say in how your property taxes are spent.
Yeah, and who you send to Concord to make
Yes,
those bigger
that's right.
decisions, that's critical too,
Yep.
because everybody there has real input into our local economy
They do.
and policy
It's
and
huge.
everything else. And this is where people need to pay attention.
Right.
Forget the federal stuff. I mean, that's important too, but if you don't get New Hampshire right, the federal is going to be, probably the least of your problems.
Yeah, New Hampshire is a microcosm of the federal, and it affects our daily lives.
Yeah.
It's important.
How are you like event wise coming up? I mean, I know you're just making a decision. It's pretty early in the cycle.
Yeah, I don't have a lot of events scheduled. I've been talking to people about, planning some house parties, and just so I can get to know people, so I can, kind of get my name out there and get out and talk to people. So I'm looking forward to doing that. But right now I don't have anything scheduled yet.
Okay. Any like big festivals over the summer or anything that you have your eye on necessarily?
Oh, well, I'll definitely go to the Strafford Berry Festival.
The Blueberry
Yeah,
Festival was great.
So I'll definitely go to that. I'll definitely, hit some local festivals and get out there and talk to people. And
I recommend the pancake breakfast.
oh,
This is also a plug for them.
Yeah.
Both Barrington and Strafford Barrington puts on a different pancake breakfast than Strafford does, the firefighters.
Yeah.
Strafford, I'm going to admit, they had blueberry pancakes.
Oh, that's nice.
And that was what took it over the top for me. So I don't live in Stratford, but I will travel for their pancake breakfast. Also a great opportunity just to meet people and shake hands and say hi.
Sure.
So
absolutely.
Yeah. It's so much fun, going to different events.
Yeah.
You never know who you're going to meet. You never know what you're going to do. And so I get excited about that.
Yeah. I like talking to people.
Yeah, me too. I'm definitely a people
And I
person.
like hearing people's ideas. I mean, people might have ideas that I've never thought of.
Yeah.
As I've said to some of my friends, it's like, a candidate isn't about one person. It's about like getting the best ideas and trying to make them happen.
Oh, absolutely. So let's define our seats first before I ask this question. So currently we have 3 represent.
That's right.
Well, technically 4.
Yes. 3 in Strafford District 4 and 1 in Strafford District 18.
Yeah. So we have Cassie Levesque.
Right.
We have Heath Howard.
Right.
And Len Turcott representing District 4 right
That's
now.
Right.
So it's 2 Democrats and a Republican.
Right.
And Mike Harrington is, he has the seat for District 18,
That's
which
right.
covers New Durham, Middleton,
yeah.
Barrington, Strafford. I feel like I'm missing one.
We are missing one.
But
I'm trying to remember
but it's a very large area.
It is,
and it's super red. The likelihood of us flipping that seat is probably going to be very slim.
Yeah, it is, yeah.
Even though if you heard him talk, you would want somebody else to represent you.
Yeah.
Okay. That's our current makeup. You're going to run. You get elected. Are we ever going to see like property taxes come down? Are we ever going to see like if we had a Democratic majority, do you think it's possible that we could fix some of these issues?
Oh, yeah, I absolutely think so. I don't even think it would be that hard to fix them. I think it would just take the political will to put back some of the taxes on high-income folks who make over $700,000 a year, and instead of giving them a tax break, let them contribute to our state, and that contribution can be used to offset property taxes by taking the state's contribution to public education and increasing it by that $3,000 a student. That would bring our taxes down significantly if we just put that money into our school and figured out how much that would reduce property taxes. I think that would be huge, and I think people would really appreciate it.
I think so too. I think people want real answers.
Yeah.
I think the idea of we'll just say no and reduce the budget and good luck to you is unfortunate. It is unfortunate. I want to send people that want to fix this. I don't want to send people that just want to raise my taxes and give wealthy people a break.
I mean, we still, like, I'll go back to that statement somebody made earlier. You still have the roads, you still have the bridges, you still have the schools, you still have all of these services that the state has to do. If you're giving away all of this tax money, who's going to pay for that? Well, I hate to say it, but property taxpayers.
Yeah.
Very likely.
This is Inks. He's been in every episode so
Hi,
far.
Inks.
And he's a rescue. I also, let me plug our local Pope Memorial.
Oh, yeah. That's where I got my dog.
Yeah. And so we got 2 cats there last year after we lost one of our senior kitties. And we always do a little rescue. Anyway, we went into Pope Memorial. They had kittens, and we got one of them. His name is Lucky. He's like a sandalwood color kitty. I've never seen a cat this color. But anyway, Ink's right there. While everybody was playing with the kitty, I was in the other room.
With the cats?
Yeah, I was with the cats, and I was going through all the cages. And this one cage had a sign on it and it says "fractitious cat." I don't know what fractitious means, so I looked over to the lady that was volunteering. I said, "What does that mean?" She said, "Oh, that means he'll scratch and bite you." I said, "Really?" And so immediately I put my finger against the cage. I was like, I need to see
the instinct.
And within 2 seconds, he he bopped my finger with no claws.
Oh, there you go.
And I said, "Oh my goodness!" And he was so cute with the little orange nose.
Yeah.
I said, "I'll take him too."
Oh, wow.
So
I mean, just because he's called fractious, you almost have to.
he's the most lovable cat.
Oh.
He comes in, just say hi. One little walk across the table. But anyway,
Yeah.
I do want to point that out. If you're a cat lover, if you're a dog lover, I think they have
Yes.
other animals, and you're looking for a place to adopt. Pope Memorial has been fantastic. So has the SPCA.
Yes.
We've gone all over the state for our cats.
Yeah. Well, our dog came from Pope Memorial in Concord, and she had a kind of a rap sheet. They were guessing 5 years old, and they were like, she barks all the time, she doesn't like strangers, she shouldn't be around other animals, cats or dogs, and she is the most mellow, sweet, easygoing dog, and she does not bark. But you put her in that environment, stressful for a pet.
Oh,
And
absolutely. Imagine
yeah,
if you were in that
I know.
environment.
And they had found her on the street in Concord eating out of somebody's trash. So, I mean, I don't know how long she was on the streets, but she's the sweetest thing.
Our limit's 4 cats. I'll rotate as many cats I need to, but hopefully not very many.
Not more than 4.
I want my cats to live like 50 years. Like I need them to bury me, not the other way around. So I'm a sucker for animals. Anyway, hi Inks. Good to have him around. Yeah.
Doesn't seem like a scratcher.
No, he is such a pleasure to have around, and he's a hunter though. He's caught 15 mice this season.
Wow, can I borrow him?
Yeah, I mean the other cats don't do it, but he puts on his work hat at night and he heads down to the basement,
Wow.
and he'll bring them right up.
Well, I've had problems with mice destroying my car.
Oh,
Have you ever
I've read,
Oh
yeah.
my gosh, terrible.
I
mean,
haven't had
I
those
had a car
issues.
that was totaled by mice.
Really?
Yes. So I'll tell you the story because it's a good cautionary tale. So my husband and I went away for 3 weeks in the wintertime, and we came back and my car smelled like a barn. The inside of my car smelled like a barn. And I was like, there is something really wrong here. And so I called my mechanic and they said, oh, you probably have mice in there. You need to call this detailer. So I called the detailer, and the detailer said, what kind of car is it? It's a Prius. It was a 2012 Prius. And they said, well, we won't do Priuses because they might need to drop the whole battery pack out. And he said, don't be surprised if your car is totaled.
Oh my goodness.
So he sent me to Portsmouth Toyota, and sure enough, they had gotten into the airbags, the headliner up above the roof of the car. They'd gotten all in there. There was all like blood and dead animals.
My God, you're making me want to open up my garage and tell the cats to get in there.
I am telling you,
Jesus.
it was completely totaled.
You don't realize how bad mice are until you get some.
And they chew on the wires.
Everything.
I mean, the airbags were gone.
Yeah.
They had shoot through airbags. I mean, they just chewed everything.
They're so
That was
cute, but
3 weeks.
oh my God. Yeah, that's a lot of stress. And we have a lot of mice in the state.
Oh, yeah,
I
we
mean,
do.
everybody's got them.
Yeah.
Luckily, I haven't had anything too devastating like a total car, but that would be, oh, my goodness. I didn't see you sneak up behind me.
Yeah.
He's
Coming back.
Yeah, this
Coming
guy,
back around.
he doesn't give up. He's a very persistent cat. He's a special set of skills.
Yeah. What is his name? Fractious? He's fractious?
Yeah, he's fractitious.
Fractitious.
Yeah,
You gotta love that.
yeah. I've never seen it before.
You should have called him that.
I know, right? I never changed their names.
Yeah.
So,
So
I
what's
guess
his
I
name?
kind of changed his.
Oh, Ink.
So, his is INXS,
Uh-huh.
like the 1980s band.
Oh, yeah, right.
INXS.
Yeah.
And I thought to myself, I can't call anybody that, so I said, you know what? It's an X. I'll call him Inks. And so when I was doing the adoption paperwork, the lady was like, oh, I like that. We didn't even think of calling him that. And I was like, don't worry, I did.
Yeah.
So getting back to the campaign trail, though,
Yeah.
it's, we're now going into March.
Right.
So when this airs, it'll probably be like March 1st or 2nd. And that gives you about 6 months until, and then
People will see me knocking at their doors before too long.
how can people help you? So if they see this and they're like, wow, I really like her. Like, how do I help this campaign?
There are all kinds of ways they can help. Just talking to a neighbor about me, sharing information that I have shared, going I don't have a website yet, but I do have an Act Blue page. If people want to donate to me, they can donate to Virginia Schonwald on Act Blue. And they can find out a little bit more about me by going to that Act Blue page.
Are you gonna do a website? I chose not to.
Well, my daughter is keen on making me one.
Really?
So yeah, she's very techie.
Okay.
So my daughter who lives in Massachusetts called me the other day, and she, it was a snow day for her, and she's busy. So she was like, yeah, I'm going to make a webpage for you. And I was like, okay, that sounds great. Yeah, I know. So, can't turn that down.
So you got to write down all your policies.
Right.
And what you
Yeah. That's right. That's right.
All that.
I'm working on my platform right now. Like, what are my main issues? And, we've talked about.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
That's one of the hardest things when I ran, like trying to figure out, like, you think that you need to be a polished politician and you're heading out there and that's not the case.
No.
Most people just want to know who you are. Should they vote for you? What do you stand for? And
I think they just want you to be a person.
Yeah.
I think they want you to be an honest, fair person who's willing to listen to different ideas.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think my only regret is I didn't knock on very many doors in Strafford.
Yeah.
And they voted heavily against me.
Really? Yeah.
I mean, I wasn't really surprised. I was probably one of the more progressive voices out there.
Mm-hmm.
And I get it. Like I'm not your centrist or moderate Democrat.
Yeah.
I believe in healthcare for all. I believe
in,
yeah,
I do too.
Taking care of everybody.
Yeah.
I don't believe in the whole bootstraps theory and trickle down economics.
Yeah.
I grew up in this stuff, with Reagan and everybody else, just like you did. And those people didn't help us. There was no trickle down economics. That
it
never
didn't
happened.
Trickle down. I mean, it's very clear if you read any of the information about what happened there. What happened is it trickled up.
Yeah.
And it didn't just trickle, it flowed up all the capital, so much money. I mean, that's why we have so many billionaires. And now we're looking at the world's first trillionaire.
Which is insane.
Which is insane. Nobody needs that kind of money.
Nobody.
And meanwhile, 90% of the country makes just like such a tiny amount compared to what that person is making. It's unfair, and the system's got to change.
I can't believe that so many Americans gave it all up.
Yeah.
They just rolled over and said, fine, I'll get a second job.
Right. Yes.
Fine, I'll have less kids.
Yeah.
All right, fine, I'll go bankrupt. That's okay with me. Like, to me, those are things that people should never experience.
But the thing is, people always think it's their own fault. They're like, because I didn't work hard enough, or I didn't do this right, or I didn't take care of myself well enough. That's why I had that heart attack. That's why I ended up bankrupt, because it's my fault. People have learned to take responsibility for that. And I think it's important to take responsibility to a point.
That's that American exceptionalism right there.
The point is that you can't say everybody is not doing a good job of taking care of themselves. When more people are failing than are succeeding, there's something wrong with the system that we're using.
Yeah, they use that a lot. It's kind of like a blanket for everything.
Right.
If there's one trans person, everybody's trans.
Yeah.
If one person's having an abortion, everybody is. If one person's raising my taxes, that is how you get bad representation.
Yeah.
Like not using your noodle and like actually figuring out who these people are, what they stand for.
Yeah.
And that's kind of like a lot of what I do here.
Yeah.
When I talk to people. When somebody gives me 2 hours of their time, that gives me a lot of time to kind of dive in. And sometimes it probably seems a little insane because I flip topics here and there, but I only get 2 hours.
Yeah.
And I got to get to it, and I think a lot of people would love to have that position. You don't get 2 hours with any candidate. You'd be lucky to.
Yeah.
I got to, like Chris Pappas, I helped him with his campaign a little bit.
Yeah.
I got to spend like 4 hours with him.
Oh, wow.
We were shooting video
wow.
pictures together, and it still wasn't enough.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's never enough.
One of the things about this legislature that drives me crazy is they're so busy with things like banning books and banning trans people from using a certain bathroom. And they seem like they're all caught up in this. things that are about people's personal choices, people's personal lives. Instead of taking care of the state, instead of finding a way to fund education, affordable health care, and child care, and the things that this state needs to reduce property taxes, they are so busy trying to regulate how each person lives. And I just think that's wrong.
It's a waste of time and it hurts people. I fully agree with that. I think that if they spent their time doing productive stuff, we'd be a better state. But I also feel like they have been bought and paid for to do the things that they do.
Yeah, I wonder about how much money is flowing into New Hampshire State Legislature.
More than most people probably think. When I ran and I got to rub shoulders with people, the amount of money is obscene.
Really?
I mean, from like what you're running for, what I ran for, the money is not much.
Right.
It's when you start getting into, oh, this is my 6th term, my 7th term. I know everybody. I'm getting kickbacks. I got interests lobbying me. There's so much there. I want people to get on board with understanding that it's our stuff that's at stake.
Right.
It's our life that's at stake, our kids' life. This whole like we won, like I don't feel that way when Democrats win. Like I don't feel like it was a team sport and I won.
Yeah.
I feel like because of the circumstances that my life will probably get a little bit better because good people are going to go do good policy. You hope.
You hope.
I'm not saying every Democrat is good because I don't believe that.
I don't believe every Democrat is going to really work hard for good policy.
Yeah.
And I think that's a huge shame.
Yeah, I don't want to send people that are just taking up a seat and
Right.
not going to do anything.
And I think career politicians need to step down and let somebody else have a turn.
Which is funny you said that because this is actually what I wanted to ask you next. I'm older and I'm just saying in general, I'm older. I didn't want a career in politics.
Right.
I wanted to run one, maybe do 2 terms, try to like help right the ship, help benefit my community, with my seat. I obviously didn't. You may.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's got to be a lot of pressure,
That's my philosophy too. You put some time into trying to support your community and trying to, like you said, right the ship, make things better for our state. And then you get out and let somebody younger do it. I'm going to be turning 70 this year. I don't want to do this for the long term. I want to do this for the short term. I want to do, like you say, 1, maybe 2 terms. And then I want to find a young person. Cassie Levesque did a great job representing us. Heath Howard did a great job representing us. I would love to see more young people wanting to run for office. We need that in the State House. We need the perspective of young people.
I agree.
I met with Cassie and I asked her, what should I do to, get young voters interested? And she said, young voters care about minimum wage. They want to be able to make enough money to stay here. Young voters care about affordable housing. They want to be able to afford to live here. And, so she talked to some about like what needs to be done but they're representing young voters. And meanwhile, I don't know what the average age of our legislature is, but it is
61.
It's pretty old.
Yeah.
And I say that as a person who's over 61. I think we need younger people to represent that whole group of people and childcare. That was the other thing she said. Young people care about affordable childcare. They want to be able to afford, again, to live here, to raise their children here, to have families here. And that is like the best thing we could support.
I agree with that. And so would you say that you want to do a transitional like run, like win that seat? Try to find somebody to fill it that would be there long term, younger, or how do you view like?
I'd like to be in 2 to 4 years if I win the seat, and then I'd like to find somebody younger. Yeah, and I don't think people should be running for, 6, 8, 10 terms. I think, people who've been in for 30 years, maybe it's time for them to let somebody else step forward, a younger person.
Yeah, get some fresh ideas.
Yeah,
get
exactly.
Some energy in there.
Right. And then hopefully the issue of money coming in to influence legislation is not so bad if there's more turnover.
What is your take on, I don't know if you're familiar with it. John Kuiper sued the state in October 2025 to get them to pay a living wage to our representatives and our senators. How do you feel about them getting paid a living wage to represent their communities?
I think that is a really, really good idea. I think it would only benefit New Hampshire, because then people could run who are passionate about making the state a wonderful place to live and who might not be able to run right now. Keith Howard, he's given, how many terms has he had? I think
Two.
Two terms.
He's ran 3 and it won 2. So.
Right. And so he's a young person. He needs to be able to make some money, and, good for him. I mean, in order to be able to live, he's got to be able to make something. And so, if he wins this seat, the CD1 seat, then he will actually get paid. Whereas all of our representatives, $100 a year, oh, come on.
Yeah.
No one can afford that except for people who are independently wealthy and people who are retired.
Right.
Or young people, a few young people who are still living at home with their parents or something like that, and they can afford to do this.
And they're the only people that will enact change that they want to see.
Right.
Right. Because if retired people are going, or, or people that don't need money so much, they're going to enact legislation that they support.
Right.
So we need to get those younger people. And you're right. I mean, Cassie, Heath, great examples of the youth. They've done so much as well.
They really have.
I mean, Cassie, she was nationally famous for the child marriage ban.
Yes.
She worked so hard. She was elected at 18. It took her three terms to finally get it. And then they're trying to reverse it.
That seems to be the story of New Hampshire legislature.
Yeah.
They put a plan in place and then they reverse it.
It's
Sununu signed the Housing Champions Law into law in 2023. Only to have Republicans now repealing and Democrats saying, please keep this program. It's addressing a desperate need for affordable housing.
We need it so bad.
Right.
There's like, I can give 1,000 reasons. Give me 1,000 people that can't afford to move out of their parents' house.
Right.
You find it right here within probably 20-minute drive of this house. We need people to be able to afford their first apartments. Right. I don't want my kids rooming with 3 or 4 strangers, right?
Yeah.
Because it's hard to find friends here. I mean, most of us don't have a lot of friends, to move in with.
Yeah.
So they're going to move in with strangers.
Yeah.
And then what? Find out one of my kids is living with like a serial killer and didn't make it home, or I don't know. There's a lot of dark stuff that can come out of that. But like, I just think that we could be so much better, again, with the right people at the helm, making good quality decisions.
And it has to be people who are not independently wealthy, because people who are independently wealthy are going to vote for things that are good for people who are independently wealthy.
Yeah, absolutely.
And young people who are just trying to get by are going to vote for things that young people just trying to get by need and want. And we need them in this state. Like I said, who's going to support us when we retire? I mean, we need young workers. And in order to attract those workers, we have to have they have to have a place to live. They have to have a job that they can afford a place to live.
Yeah. And it sucks when I hear like, well, if you pay them more, you got to charge more. I'm okay with paying a little bit more. I mean, if that means my server can like pay their electric bill, or they can buy diapers for a newborn, or pay a mortgage, like we need to get back to being affordable.
Right.
I think like gas hasn't really budged in years.
Right. It's true.
Everything's going up. I mean, you can't deny it. When you go to Walmart or Hannaford's or wherever you're shopping, and you put the same food that you put a year and a half ago on the conveyor belt, it's going to be 30-40% more than what it used to be. You cannot deny the receipt.
Yeah.
And I hope that people are paying attention.
Yeah.
The last year's been bad, not just at the federal level, but all the way down, from tourist season being completely just, honestly, I haven't seen a Canadian plate in a
Yeah.
long time.
Well, I haven't. Yeah.
And so a lot of, I know by that, I mean, I know it's anecdotal, it's one person's
No,
view,
no,
but
but it's true. I'm trying to think of the last time I saw a plate from Quebec,
yeah,
which I used to see all the time.
those are less hotel rooms that are being rented. Those
Yeah.
are less Airbnbs, less, steak being sold at Calif's,
Right.
or jellies being sold at the other
Right.
Calif's.
Right. Yeah.
We are, we are headed towards a fiscal collapse in this state because of external sources and internal sources. And we're getting a double whammy. So, I think about that stuff. I'm hoping that other people are paying attention to
I think
it.
people are paying attention because it's really affecting their pocketbooks. It's affecting they know, everybody knows when they go to the grocery store and they put something on the conveyor belt, like you say, and it costs 40% more than it last time. And then they have to make decisions. Okay, maybe I don't want that maybe
Yeah.
I can't get that anymore. People are aware of that. And I do think people are going to vote in accordance with what they see happening. And it's not good. It hasn't been good.
I hope so. I remember those stupid little signs that were up and down 125 that was like Trump cheaper, Kamala
Right.
dangerous,
I know, right. Yes, I remember
Everything they said about her has happened through
that.
him.
The opposite. That's what I have seen over and over. Call it the Clear Skies Initiative and get rid of pollution control. I think I was thinking the other day about the story of the boy who cried wolf,
Yeah.
and how what's been happening is the boy's been crying wolf over and over and over again, and people are seeing there's no wolf. What they're doing is they're doing the exact opposite of what they say they're going to do, what they call their legislation. The Save America Act, which is going to restrict voting rights in a huge amount for a huge amount of people who, it's very hard to get access to your birth certificate. Say you were born in California, you were born in Los Angeles. You have to right away, you have to pay for your birth certificate, and you have to wait several weeks sometimes for it to come. And it's just not accessible for a lot of people. And that is just another example. Save America Act. Do you know that there were 8 cases of potential voter fraud in the entire state of New Hampshire in, I think it was 2024. And of those, several of them were apparently because somebody didn't have a certain identification, not because they weren't an eligible voter. And so it's like it's a problem in search of a solution, as a lot of people will say.
Well, it's a lot of gaslighting.
It's a lot of gaslighting.
We don't have voter fraud problem in this country. It was established by one sore loser,
right,
that really wants people to think that we have a voter fraud problem, but we don't. And instead of spending money to, put it in our schools and better our communities,
right.
We have to spend money and resources making these stupid laws that are going to create voter suppression and everything else. I get it. Like, I'm fine with needing an ID to vote.
Absolutely.
As long as that ID is free and you can just go and pick it up without any issues whatsoever.
Right.
I'll get behind that all day long. Every single person should be able to get an ID that proves citizenship, that proves everything. Forget the real ID. Take it up a notch.
Yeah.
Give us all a national ID and let it. I mean, that actually made me kind of recoil a little bit saying national ID. But I'm saying, like, just for that purpose, right? Yeah. And I'm sure it can
voter ID.
Yeah, I'm sure that it could be, misused and all that stuff too.
Unfortunately, our personal data is, being misused all over the place. I mean, when Elon Musk's get lackeys get access to all of our Social Security records, that scared me. I mean, and so anyway, so I think there's a balance to be had. We should have some security of our personal information, but at the same time, everyone should be allowed to vote, and it shouldn't have to cost money, and you shouldn't have to jump through a whole bunch of hoops to be able to vote.
No, I fully agree. I mean, I know people will say, like, well, it's an ID, $40, $50, dollars. Yeah. And hours of my time. I have to go make an appointment at the DMV now because you can't go in on a walk-in in New Hampshire. Like, I'm just saying, give the person an ID for free.
Right.
and then we're good.
Yeah.
Like, I understand, like, it should be as easy as possible.
Yes.
Making voting harder is not the answer. Like, we can prosecute people that want to do voter fraud and
Absolutely.
electoral fraud. We're good at that. But the idea of trying to limit people voting is insane to me too. Like,
Well, Kansas passed a law like the one that
yes,
New Hampshire passed.
yes,
You know, and they estimated that 30,000 people were not turned away from the polls, but 30,000 people couldn't vote who were eligible voters because they didn't have the correct documentation. And the Kansas Supreme Court struck that down.
yeah,
Because they said this is like a poll tax.
it is a poll tax.
It's absolutely a poll tax. And people shouldn't have to jump through a million hoops to be able to exercise what is their right.
Yeah,
It's
a
right.
duty, and we need to be there. Everybody needs to
Yeah.
be there. So I'm with you on that.
Let me just tell you a little
Yeah,
bit
yeah.
about it?
Tell me,
All right.
tell me about the organization that you're working with.
So, Braver Angels is an organization that was started by a marriage counselor. And he said, what this country needs is a marriage counselor. And he was so right. People are at each other's throats, people in families who can't talk to each other like we've talked about before. And so what he did was he developed a program to teach people how to talk to each other about issues, leave the personalities of the leaders out of it. Let's talk about the issues that we care about. Let's try to find some common ground. And we don't have to change anybody's mind. So Braver Angels is not about me changing your mind or you changing my mind, but it's about us being able to have civil conversations. And it's about the fact that this country used to be able to move forward through those civil conversations. So it's kind of a 4-part process of listening and acknowledging someone else's point of view and then sharing your perspective. And it's a wonderful program. I've been involved in a couple things at Kearsarge Regional High School where we brought this in and taught this to students in a group, and also at SNU. SNU faculty asked us to come and do a presentation for them, and then they want to take it to their students. I mean, I feel like people are really sick of all the rancor, all of the anger, all of the hatred in politics, and they want it gone. And I think the Braver Angels is a great way to do it. And Braver Angels started the first in the nation Granite Bridge Legislative Alliance to try to get legislators in our House and Senate to come together across party lines and talk about issues.
Is this a nonprofit, or
It is a nonprofit.
And where is it located? Is it here?
It was started in Minneapolis, but there's a New Hampshire chapter, so there's chapters all across the country.
Okay.
And it costs $12 to join. braverangels.org is the name of the organization. And if you go online and you look at some of their materials, it's really moving. So one of the things they do is bring together 12 people who consider themselves reds and 12 people who consider themselves blues. And they have a workshop to teach these people how to talk to each other. And then they have one-on-one conversations with each other. And it's so moving. People develop these amazing friendships across party lines. Every Braver Angels organization is led by one person who identifies as a red and one person who identifies as a blue. And they together facilitate workshops. And it's a really wonderful organization.
It almost sounds like a gentler Jubilee. I don't know if you've ever seen that channel on YouTube.
No.
They take like two opposing forces, whatever the topic is, and they put them in a room to like talk. Sometimes it's good, and sometimes it's
Right.
terrible. But yours sounds very pleasant. So people,
It is.
Who's this for? Who's your target?
Anybody who is tired of all the rancor in politics, who wants to be able to talk to their neighbor, their parent, their child, their brother about politics, and they can't. Anybody who wants to just end the partisan bickering and try to solve problems. It's really for all of us.
I refer to that as off-ramps.
Yeah.
You know, I talked about this last episode a little bit, but like giving people off-ramps and allowing them to come back, you know, and see that, and this is for anything. I'm not trying to say one side or this and that. I'm just saying in general, when you have an argument with somebody, you want to leave that door open and say, listen, I know you're upset,
Right.
but I'll be here when you're ready,
Right.
and we can hug it out or whatever.
Yeah.
And that's nice, right? To bring
Yeah.
people back. Sometimes they get a little lost in the sauce.
Yeah.
They
Oh
get,
yeah.
they
And
get
you
the
can get,
merch.
the heat level can go up and you can't really argue or talk about anything anymore. But what I love about Braver Angels, it's saying, we're not trying to change you. We're not trying to say, give up your, beliefs that someone else might consider radical.
Yeah.
No, you should be able to fully express yourself and why. And one of the things Braver Angels does that's beautiful is they say, wow, you seem really upset about that. Is there a story about something that's, you've experienced? And people bring out these amazing personal stories.
One of the hardest things is trying to pull things out of people.
Yeah.
Try to tease things out
Right.
and see where they really sit. So that sounds like an amazing opportunity for people. And you said it was braverangels.org.
braverangels.org. Yeah.
I'm gonna have to check that out too.
Yeah.
I like having the conversation. I just don't like confrontation. I don't
Right.
want to get into a fist fight over something that
No.
I could care less about. Like,
I don't think most people do.
No,
I
don't think so
people who are
either.
looking for a fight.
Yeah.
For sure. But I think most people, they just want to work things out. They just want to get along.
Yeah. And some people probably just want just somebody to tell them that it's going to be all right too.
Yeah.
So hopefully they get some of that in there too.
They do.
So I've never heard of this organization. So it's just everywhere?
It's nationwide. Yes. And they've been active for the 2020 presidential election, I think, is what catalyzed the start of the organization.
Okay.
What catalyzed this guy who was a marriage counselor to say, hey, this country needs a marriage counselor. And then he got a couple other people on board, and they together have developed this program, which is wonderful. It's in schools in some places, and there's a big effort to make it more prevalent in schools. All of that partisan bickering, it really affects kids. I think.
Oh yeah.
I think it stresses kids out.
Yeah.
And so we don't need to stress our kids out anymore. Kids these days deal with so much stress. Like,
politics should never ever reach that boiling point, right?
Yes.
Like, I miss the opportunities to talk to a neighbor and be like, hey, our fiscal policy sucks, or our foreign policy sucks.
Yeah.
And it wasn't like, oh, well, you're just weak, like, all right, I just want to have a conversation,
Right.
But it goes back to what I was talking about at the beginning, where I had to leave some of those people behind because we just couldn't find
a way forward.
Yeah, we couldn't find the exit ramp. We couldn't find any kind of mediation. We couldn't find anything that would bring us together. We could only find things that would divide us. And I even lost a best friend I had over 30 years. I asked nicely, hey, please don't send me, Trump memes. And, instead of saying, hey, man, I respect that. We've been friends for a long time. I see you as a human being. Mm-hmm. It was, no, here's more.
Yeah.
And those kind of people are toxic. I'm past that now. I mean, it's been years, but I'm saying it did start back then.
There is a way to stop the toxicity. And I do think that there's been a very deliberate effort to divide Americans, to be able to slip things under the radar, to do things that are not good for anyone in this country. And I think we need to come together to make good policy. And I don't always have to win. My way doesn't always have to be the way it works. I think working together, we can find the best way.
I think our history shows as a country that when we're united, we're unstoppable.
Right.
And, today we're more divided than anything. And that's why we're seeing our economy, collapsing slightly.
Yeah.
I don't know if we're in a recession, but it feels like we are.
Yeah.
But so I applaud any organization that wants to work at bringing us back together. So Braver Angels, for anybody that's interested in seeking that, that is actually really good to hear.
Yeah.
And I know locally here, Matt Town, public, he's not a public figure, but he is a public figure.
Yeah, right.
And he's been trying to get these conversations in our library.
Yeah.
And
the ACLU has been facilitating some conversations in
yeah,
our library, and they're very open to having people with different political beliefs come together and talk about issues and talk about problems. And they're going to do one about specifically local problems. So, what are our local problems? How can we come together, even if we don't agree politically, and try to solve them?
yeah,
We can.
we
We
can
just
definitely do it.
we just have to have the will to do it.
We just need to turn off the propaganda. We need to go
Right. We need
outside
to.
and
Yep.
shake hands
Yep.
with our neighbors.
Yep.
We need to be present in our community, and you know,
Yeah.
so
I agree.
so that is nice. I don't want to leave it just there. I want to know, like, I've asked you where people can connect with you, of course,
right.
and the website will come, I'm sure.
Yes.
Are you pretty active on Facebook? Are you doing anything
You know,
there?
I abandoned Facebook several years ago, and I'm getting back to it a little bit. But one of the things I found is that it was just a time suck. And
Yeah.
not only a time suck, but there was a lot of stuff that would get me feeling really upset. And I hated that. So, so I started avoiding it. But I'm kind of getting back to Facebook. I'm planning to do a Facebook page for my campaign, and, just so people can find information about me.
I feel the same way. I did do a Facebook page. I deleted it the night of the election.
Yeah, did you?
Not because I was mad or anything. It was just because I knew I wasn't going to run again, and let's move on with it. So I just deleted it. It served its purpose. Unfortunately for our area, Facebook is so important.
Yeah.
But I don't think that you personally need to post on Facebook to win a seat. I don't post. I hardly ever post. I accept everybody's friendship mostly. And, I just use it for the messenger part, but I also use it for all the groups. That's something about our area, Strafford and Barrington. We love our Facebook groups.
Yeah.
And being present in there is more important, in my opinion, than having a Facebook page and doing anything else.
Yes.
When people see your comments on those Facebook groups, that is what they remember.
Really? That's good to know.
I don't think anybody ever went to my page. I think it only served like a feel good for me.
Yes.
But at the end of the day, you have to meet people where they are. And that's what I like about what Heath says this, Heath Howard.
Yeah.
Meeting people where they are, and they're in that group.
Yes.
They're not going to click to your page.
Yes, right. Yeah.
But they will read your comment.
Them to. Yeah.
So like if you go to like Barrington Connections, Barrington Community, there's a few others.
FYI Barrington.
Yeah. And you look at those comments, if you read those comments enough, you remember those names.
Yes, right.
Right?
Especially if you see the same person over and over again. And I'm not real active on Facebook right now, but I do know certain people who I've seen their posts over and over again.
Yeah.
And either I really disagree with them or I really agree with them, or, but I remember the kind of the stream of their thoughts or their comments.
Yeah. I mean, it makes a big difference when you see that repetitive, but that's marketing, if you see something multiple times.
Marketing is probably my weakest point.
Yeah. I mean, but that's everybody.
Yeah.
I went to school for it. I did it for a couple decades. So I kind of understand like, the vibe marketing.
Yeah.
I hate that word.
I
hate that word for what it is.
Is.
But like understanding what the consumer of whatever you're marketing is, how they're going to receive it. How is, I always think about that. In the Air Force, the number one thing I'd always tell everybody is perception is everything.
Yes.
No matter what. Like, it doesn't matter what your credentials are. It doesn't matter anything. What you put out there is what is perceived by the world.
Right.
And
yeah, fair enough.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like my mom who she was a dietitian for, 40 plus years. And she would say, presentation is everything. Like when you serve a meal, you want the presentation.
Everything has to be the best. And that's why I live my life,
I think there's something to be said for that.
Yeah. So for any candidates, I'm definitely would recommend being involved in the Facebook groups.
Yeah.
I mean, if you have the time and you have the desire to publish on your page,
definitely.
Go for it.
Right.
But be there where they are. And
right.
and for our district, it's Facebook.
Yeah.
It's not Blue Sky. It's not X. It's not anywhere else.
Right.
It's that.
Not Substack.
Yeah. Oh, Substack maybe a little bit. I mean, but that's thanks to probably Steve and a few other kind of loud people here in New Hampshire.
Right.
And Steve's great. I would love to sit across from him one day too.
Oh,
You
yeah.
know, I mean, there's so many people out there that I want to talk to.
Yeah, yeah.
We got some great people in our
We do.
community.
We really do.
So, are you?
People who are caring and hardworking and who are, really believe that everybody deserves human dignity. Everybody deserves to be treated with care.
It seems like such a small ask in today's world,
It does.
but it's such a heavy lift for so
Right.
many. And I just hope it gets better. And it
Me
gets
too.
better one conversation at a time.
Yeah.
With Braver Angels and doing stuff like this.
Yeah.
I want to give you the last word, like anything that you want to, reach the audience with, any like connections, any thoughts that you want to share, you're welcome to.
Well, thank you. I guess I just want the only thing I can think of to say is that there's hope. There is hope. We can come together and we can solve problems, and we can make our state a place where young people want to stay and will stay and are able to stay and can raise their families. And it's not too much to ask. It's not our fault that that's not happening right now, but we can fix it.
Yeah, we can. We can get back to work. We can get the right people in, right policy, and see our way forward. Thank you so much for doing this with
Thank
me.
you.
I
Yeah.
am over the moon when I get to talk with somebody and have such a deep conversation. I hope we can do this again.
Well,
And,
thanks.
I'll
Yeah,
always
I
keep
would love that.
invite open.
Okay.
So
All right.
best of luck and
Thank you.
thank you again.
All right. Thank you.